What if I told you that the key to breaking any addiction lies not in willpower, but in the ancient wisdom of Stoic philosophers? Imagine being able to reprogram your mind in just 9 days, freeing yourself from the chains of habit that have held you back for so long. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But here's the kicker. Neuroscience is now backing up what Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught centuries ago. This isn't about white-knuckling your way through cravings or relying on sheer determination. It's about understanding the intricate workings of your mind and leveraging that knowledge to your advantage. Whether you're battling substance abuse, struggling with social media addiction, or fighting any other compulsive behavior, the principles we're about to explore can revolutionize your approach to breaking free. In the next few minutes, we'll dive deep into a 9-day journey that combines cutting-edge psychology with time-tested Stoic practices. You'll discover how to rewire your neural pathways, cultivate ironclad emotional intelligence, and harness the power of your environment to support your goals. This isn't just another self-help video, it's a roadmap to reclaiming control over your life and becoming the master of your own mind. Are you ready to embark on this transformative adventure? By the way, if you're finding value in this content, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom applied to modern life. Your support helps us reach more people with these powerful ideas. The addiction trap. Understanding your neural pathways. Picture this. You're walking through a dense forest, and with each step, you're creating a path. The more you walk that same route, the clearer and easier to follow it becomes. That's exactly what's happening in your brain when you form a habit, good or bad. Neuroscientists call this process neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form and reorganize synaptic connections. Every time you engage in a behavior, you're strengthening these neural pathways, making it more likely you'll repeat that behavior in the future. It's like your brain is saying, "Hey, we've done this before, and it was easy. Let's do it again." This is the science behind habit formation, and it's crucial to understand if you want to break free from addiction. But here's where it gets tricky. Addictions aren't just any old habits. They're supercharged pathways in your brain's reward system. When you engage in addictive behavior, your brain releases a flood of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. It's like your neural pathways are being paved with gold, making them even more attractive to your brain. Over time, your brain starts to crave that dopamine hit more and more, leading to a vicious cycle of addiction. The worst part? Your brain actually starts to rewire itself, reducing the number of dopamine receptors in response to the constant flood. This means you need more and more of the addictive substance or behavior to feel the same level of pleasure. It's a trap, and your own brain is the unwitting architect. But don't despair. Understanding this process is the first step in dismantling it, and that's exactly what we're going to do in the coming days. Stoic wisdom, the power of perception. Enter Epictetus, the ancient Stoic philosopher who dropped a truth bomb that's still rattling our minds today. He introduced the concept of the dichotomy of control, a game changer for anyone grappling with addiction. Here's the gist. There are things in life we can control and things we can't. The kicker? The only thing we truly have control over is our own mind, our thoughts, judgments, and reactions. Everything else? It's outside our sphere of influence. This isn't just some philosophical mumbo-jumbo. It's a powerful tool for breaking the chains of addiction. When you realize that you can't control the existence of addictive substances or the stresses in your life, but you can control how you perceive and respond to them, you've just unlocked a superpower. Now, let's apply this Stoic wisdom to addiction. Here's a mind-bending idea. What if addiction isn't a compulsion, but a choice? I know. It feels like a compulsion. But hear me out. Every time you engage in addictive behavior, you're making a choice. It might not feel like it in the moment, but you are. The craving, the urge, that's not in your control. But your response to it, that's all you, baby. This shift in perception is nothing short of revolutionary. It moves you from a position of helplessness to one of power. You're no longer a victim of your addiction. You're the decision maker. This doesn't mean it's easy, far from it, but it does mean it's possible. By reframing addiction as a series of choices rather than an irresistible compulsion, you're taking the first step in reclaiming control over your life. And that, my friends, is where true freedom begins. Day 1. Awareness is the first step. Imagine you're a detective and your addiction is the culprit you're trying to catch. Your first move? Surveillance. That's what Day 1 is all about, becoming hyper-aware of your addiction patterns. We're going to employ some ninja-level mindfulness techniques to recognize your triggers. Here's the deal. Throughout the day, set random alarms on your phone. When they go off, pause and take a mental snapshot. What are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you craving your addiction? This practice sharpens your awareness like a samurai sword, cutting through the fog of habit and bringing your triggers into sharp focus. But we're not stopping there. It's time to channel your inner Hemingway and start journaling. Don't worry, we're not writing the next great American novel here. This is all about tracking your addiction patterns. Every time you feel the urge to engage in your addictive behavior, jot it down. What time is it? Where are you? What happened just before the urge hit? How strong is the craving on a scale of 1 to 10? This isn't just busy work. You're creating a treasure map of your addiction. By the end of the day, you'll have a clear picture of when, where, and why your cravings strike. This information is pure gold. It's like having the enemy's battle plans in your hands. And trust me, in this war against addiction, knowledge isn't just power. It's your secret weapon. So grab that journal and get ready to become the Sherlock Holmes of your own mind. The game, my friends, is afoot. Day 2. Cultivating emotional intelligence. Ever feel like your emotions are driving the addiction bus and you're just along for the ride? Time to take the wheel back. Day 2 is all about becoming the Sherlock Holmes of your emotional landscape. We're going to dig deep and identify the underlying emotions fueling your addiction. Maybe it's stress from work, loneliness on weekends, or anxiety about the future. Whatever it is, we're bringing it out of the shadows and into the light. Here's your mission. Every time you feel the urge to indulge in your addiction, pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Don't judge, just observe. Are you bored, frustrated, scared? Write it down. This emotional detective work might feel uncomfortable at first, but stick with it. You're untangling the knots in your psyche, one emotion at a time. Now that we've identified these emotional troublemakers, it's time to break out the big guns, Stoic practices for emotional regulation. The ancient Stoics weren't just sitting around in togas philosophizing. They were developing practical tools for mastering their minds. One powerful technique is the premeditation of evils. Sounds grim, but bear with me. Each morning, imagine the challenges you might face that day, especially those that typically trigger your addiction. Visualize yourself handling these situations calmly and rationally, without resorting to your addictive behavior. This mental rehearsal primes your brain to respond more effectively when these situations actually arise. Another Stoic gem is the practice of negative visualization. Spend a few minutes each day imagining life without the things you value, including your addiction. This not only reduces your attachment to the addictive behavior, but also increases your gratitude for the positive aspects of your life. By cultivating this emotional intelligence, you're not just resisting addiction, you're building a fortress of mental resilience. Day 3. The art of delayed gratification. Picture your brain as a muscle. Just like you can strengthen your biceps with curls, you can beef up your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control. Today, we're hitting the mental gym. The key exercise: delayed gratification. It's time to channel your inner marshmallow-resisting kid from that famous Stanford experiment. Start small. When you feel the urge for your addiction, don't fight it head-on. Instead, tell yourself, "I'll wait just 5 minutes." Use that time to distract yourself, maybe by doing jumping jacks or reciting the alphabet backward. You're not denying yourself forever, you're just postponing. This simple act of delay strengthens your prefrontal cortex, giving it more power to override impulsive decisions in the future. Now, let's level up with the 5-minute rule. Here's how it works. Whenever you feel the urge to indulge in your addiction, commit to doing something productive for just 5 minutes instead. It could be cleaning your desk, reading a few pages of a book, or doing a quick meditation. Often you'll find that after those 5 minutes, the urge has passed or at least diminished. And even if it hasn't, you've just proven to yourself that you can resist, even if only for a short time. This rule is like a secret weapon against the instant gratification your addiction promises. It's teaching your brain that delayed rewards can be even more satisfying. Plus, you're racking up mini achievements throughout the day, boosting your confidence and self-esteem. Remember, every time you successfully delay gratification, you're not just avoiding your addiction, you're actively rewiring your brain for long-term success. You're becoming the master of your impulses, one 5-minute victory at a time. Day 4. Rewiring your reward system. Buckle up, because today we're going cold turkey on dopamine. Welcome to the world of dopamine detox. Think of it as a reset button for your brain's reward system. For the next 24 hours, we're cutting out all unnecessary sources of dopamine hits. That means no social media, no junk food, no video games, and definitely no indulging in your addiction. Sounds tough. It is, but here's the kicker. This temporary deprivation makes your brain super sensitive to dopamine again. It's like turning up the volume on life's simple pleasures. After your detox, a walk in nature or a good conversation with a friend will feel amazingly rewarding. You're breaking the cycle of needing more and more stimulation to feel good and teaching your brain to appreciate subtler, healthier forms of pleasure. Now, let's talk about finding healthy alternatives for pleasure. Your brain is going to crave that dopamine hit, so we need to be ready with some substitute activities that give you a natural high. Exercise is a great option. It releases endorphins, nature's feel-good chemicals. Maybe try a new, challenging workout that pushes your limits. Creative pursuits like painting, writing, or playing music can also be incredibly rewarding. The key is to choose activities that require focus and skill. These engage your brain fully, leaving less room for addictive thoughts. Volunteering is another powerful alternative. Helping others triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which can create a sense of fulfillment and connection. Remember, we're not just avoiding your addiction. We're actively creating a life so rich and rewarding that the addiction loses its appeal. You're not giving something up. You're gaining a whole new world of healthy, sustainable pleasures. Day 5. Building a Stoic mindset. Ready to flex your philosophical muscles? Today, we're diving deep into the Stoic practice of negative visualization. It might sound like a downer, but trust me, it's a game changer. Here's how it works. Spend a few minutes each day imagining losing the things you value most. Your job, your home, your health, even your addiction. This isn't about wallowing in misery. It's about appreciating what you have right now. When you visualize life without your addiction, you're reminding yourself that you don't need it to be happy. You're also preparing yourself mentally for the challenges of quitting. By facing your fears in your mind, you're building resilience for the real-world struggle. It's like a mental vaccine against the hardships of recovery. Now, let's talk about developing resilience through adversity. The Stoics believed that obstacles are actually opportunities in disguise. Every craving, every moment of weakness is a chance to prove your strength. Start viewing your addiction as a worthy opponent, not an insurmountable enemy. When you resist a craving, don't just feel relieved. Feel proud. You're not just avoiding a negative, you're actively becoming stronger. Try this. Every time you successfully resist your addiction, do a physical gesture like pumping your fist or striking a power pose. It might feel silly, but it anchors that feeling of triumph in your body and mind. Remember, the Stoics taught that true happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from our own virtuous actions. By choosing to fight your addiction, you're not just breaking a habit, you're building character. You're becoming the hero of your own story, facing trials and emerging stronger. Embrace the struggle, for it is the forge in which your new addiction-free self is being created. Day 6. The power of environment. Ever heard the saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with"? Well, today we're taking that wisdom and cranking it up to 11. It's time to redesign your physical space to support your addiction-free life. Start by decluttering. Remove any objects that remind you of your addiction or trigger cravings. If you're quitting smoking, toss out all ashtrays and lighters. Battling a shopping addiction? Unsubscribe from those tempting email newsletters. Create a sanctuary that reflects the person you're becoming, not the one you're leaving behind. Add elements that promote calm and focus, maybe a small indoor plant, a diffuser with essential oils, or a dedicated meditation corner. Your environment should be a constant reminder of your commitment to change. Now, let's talk about your social circle. It's time to curate a support system that uplifts and inspires you. This doesn't mean cutting off all your friends cold turkey, but it does mean being intentional about who you spend time with. Seek out people who embody the qualities you aspire to: discipline, positivity, resilience. Join support groups or online communities focused on breaking addictions. These people will understand your struggle and celebrate your victories, no matter how small. And here's a pro tip. Find an accountability partner. This could be a friend, family member, or someone from a support group. Share your goals with them and check in regularly. Having someone to answer to can be a powerful motivator when willpower alone isn't cutting it. Remember, you're not just changing a habit, you're creating a whole new lifestyle. Your environment, both physical and social, should reflect and support this transformation. By surrounding yourself with positivity and support, you're setting the stage for long-term success in your battle against addiction. Day 7. Harnessing the habit loop. All right, habit hackers, it's time to put on your lab coats and dissect the anatomy of your addiction. We're diving into the habit loop, the invisible force behind your compulsive behaviors. This loop consists of 3 parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that sets off your craving. Maybe it's stress, boredom, or a certain time of day. The routine is the addictive behavior itself. And the reward? That's the feeling of relief or pleasure you get from indulging. Your mission today is to become a habit detective. Every time you feel the urge to engage in your addiction, pause and identify each part of the loop. What triggered you? What exactly do you want to do? What reward are you seeking? Write it all down. This awareness is your first step in breaking the cycle. Now that you've mapped out your habit loop, it's time for some clever rewiring. We're going to craft new, empowering habits to replace the old, destructive ones. Here's the trick. We're keeping the same cues and rewards, but changing the routine. Let's say stress is your cue, and relaxation is your reward. Instead of reaching for a drink or a cigarette, try a quick meditation or a brisk walk. The key is to find a healthy activity that provides a similar reward to your addiction. It might feel awkward at first, like you're wearing someone else's shoes, but stick with it. Each time you successfully complete this new routine, you're laying down fresh neural pathways. You're teaching your brain that there are better ways to respond to your cues and get your rewards. Remember, you're not just breaking an old habit. You're building a new, improved version of yourself. It's like you're the architect, contractor, and building materials all in one. So grab that blueprint and start constructing your addiction-free future one habit at a time. Day 8. Embracing discomfort. Brace yourself, because today we're diving headfirst into discomfort. Welcome to the Stoic practice of voluntary hardship. It's time to purposely seek out challenging situations to build your mental toughness. Start small. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, or sleep on the floor for a night. These might sound like bizarre self-torture techniques, but hear me out. By voluntarily embracing discomfort, you're training your mind to handle adversity. You're proving to yourself that you can endure difficult situations without resorting to your addiction. Each time you push through discomfort, you're flexing your willpower muscle, making it stronger for the battles ahead. Remember, the path to breaking addiction isn't always comfortable, but neither is staying trapped in the cycle of addiction. Now, let's crank up the intensity with some cold therapy. We're talking ice baths, cold showers, or winter swims if you're feeling particularly brave. Why subject yourself to this Arctic torture? Because cold exposure is a powerful tool for building willpower. When you immerse yourself in cold water, every fiber of your being screams to get out. But by staying in, you're teaching your mind to override your immediate impulses. You're strengthening your ability to choose long-term benefits over short-term comfort, a crucial skill in breaking addiction. Plus, cold therapy has been shown to boost mood, reduce inflammation, and improve immune function. It's like a full-body reset button. Start with just 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your shower and gradually increase the duration. Each time you resist the urge to turn up the heat, you're building the mental fortitude to resist your addiction. Remember, discomfort is not your enemy. It's your training ground. Embrace it, learn from it, and watch as it transforms you into a more resilient, addiction-resistant version of yourself. Day 9. Accountability and long-term success. As we reach the final day of our journey, it's time to cement your commitment for the long haul. Today, we're creating your personal mission statement. This isn't some corporate mumbo-jumbo. It's your battle cry against addiction. Start by reflecting on your core values and the person you want to become. What does a life free from addiction look like for you? How will breaking this habit align with your deepest aspirations? Write it down in clear, powerful language. Something like, I choose freedom over temporary pleasure. I am resilient, strong, and committed to living a life of purpose and authenticity. Make it personal, make it powerful, and most importantly, make it yours. This mission statement will be your North Star when the path gets tough. Read it every morning and every night. Let it sink into your bones and become part of your identity. Now, let's talk systems for ongoing growth. Breaking an addiction isn't a one-and-done deal. It's a lifelong journey of self-improvement. Set up daily check-ins with yourself. Use a habit tracking app or a simple journal to record your progress. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and learn from your setbacks. Consider joining a support group or finding an accountability partner for the long term. Schedule regular maintenance sessions where you review and refine your strategies. Maybe it's a monthly reflection day or a quarterly personal retreat. The key is to stay proactive and vigilant. Remember, you're not just avoiding a bad habit, you're actively building a better life. Set new goals that excite you and push you forward. Learn new skills, cultivate meaningful relationships, pursue passions you've been putting off. By continually growing and evolving, you're not just leaving your addiction behind, you're sprinting towards a future so bright, your old habits can't even cast a shadow. And there you have it, your 9-day roadmap to breaking any addiction. If you've made it this far, type freedom in the comments. New to the channel? Hit that subscribe button for more life-changing Stoic wisdom. Remember, every day is a chance to reshape your mind. Until next time, stay strong.